Welcome everybody. My name is Patrik. I'm Marián. We both work as test automation specialists at Slovenská sporiteľňa. And today we would like to share with you our story about building test automation platform in the bank, where we started, what problems we faced, and where we are now. In the beginning, a little introduction of our company. Slovenská sporiteľňa is a member of Erste Group, and it is the largest bank in Slovakia with approximately 2.2 million of clients. We are focused on digital innovations and services with added value. Each industry has its own specifics. Bank environment is not exception. I can say that it is maybe the special one. Complexity, restrictions, and so on. These named environments specifics can help you understand better what we have faced during the journey of building a test automation platform. Think about that your automated tests interact with integrated applications on multiple environments. Automation platform should be aligned with security requirements, or it once will be a necessary part of regression phase of release. Our journey began on the greenfield. 100% of regression tests were performed manually by 25 testers, and it took 2 weeks of every release. Testers also spent a lot of time with data preparation because some bank processes require specific data. For example, you can open some account type for one client just once, or you need loan application processed in some step. Of course, there were some attempts of automation, but all of them were unsuccessful or just unsustainable in the long term. First steps, when two ordinary testers discovered robot framework with combination of Selenium library, and they opened first browser with robot script, I can tell that it can be quite enthusiastic to build something bigger. In the beginning, the idea was to get rid of routine and repetitive work. Yes, I mean regression tests, because we do that every release, and it is very exhausting. When some scripts was finished, we also used it for data preparation. Data was prepared for colleagues, professional testers, for UA testers, and others. Firstly, all these robot test cases run on our computers on localhost, but it started to limit us. We have started to think how to spread benefits of automation to others. And the first step was to move execution of test suites and test cases for data preparation to unused desktop. With increasing interest of data preparation by robot scripts, it was necessary to move these scripts closer to the people. In the bank, not all are technically proficient to execute them by themselves. After some brainstorming, DEVOPS has been founded. It is a simple web application that allows every kind of user to execute the robot test cases with their own credentials. And DEVOPS also supports input parameters from user and provides history of executed test with output data. This is DEVOPS. You have to choose the supported application from menu. We can say suite. Within the form, user has to choose environment. This action populates dropdown for test cases with available test for chosen environment. In this case, we choose a test case for client enrollment. If a test case has specific input params, then they're dynamically added to the form. For example, a client can have a desired last name. When you press the button, all of these parameters are put together to robot framework command and executed on the server. During the execution, user can go to take some coffee or just watch live output from console. In case of a past result, the output data are displayed on the screen. There is also a possibility to display a robot built-in log template. With an increasing number of automated tests, we also started to orchestrate execution of smoke regression suites within pipelines. It contributed to faster error detection and reduction of time for execution of regression tests. But the question was how to bring the results to testers, managers, and business owners in a readable way. For that purpose, Timon has been developed. It provides a simple presentation of test results with logs or screenshots of failed tests. And this is how Timon looks like. From menu, you choose environment on which you want to see the test results. Results are grouped by business areas, suites. If you click on a row with the suite name, then all test cases that were executed within suite will be displayed. Failed tests have option to display error description with screenshot from tested application, and this is the error description from test. There is also functionality to get result of a specific suite in a time. You choose a suite name and dates between you want to get overview of results. Just a moment. So when the results are displayed, you can, for example, find out how many tests failed or passed in a specific run. At some point of our journey, the DevOps crossed our path and had big impact in the next steps for building test automation platform. But in good way, we have started to use tools and implement standards that have been introduced by DevOps core team. Test automation platform became an important part of the transformation. The result of the transformation is this. Code should be in Git, so everything what is a code is versioned there in GitLab. For orchestration, smoke, and regression pipelines, we use Jenkins. To deal with secrets and configuration, we have config server. Test execution is performed on dedicated virtual machines that are set as a Jenkins nodes agents. On the main server, we call it test master. We have installed all dependencies. Robot framework is of course a core tool there. There is also tbot and Timon hosted, and I cannot forget to mention data management, which is used for retrieving destructive data for tests. Notifications are sent via RocketChat. So how it all works together? Smoke or regression pipeline within Jenkins can be triggered manually, or for example by a time event. When the job is triggered, first thing that happens is pull a fresh copy of code from defined branch. Then a set of commands are executed. In robot framework command, it can be defined which suite to run, on which environment, which browser to use, and so on. After that, the application is under test. When the tests are finished, notification is sent via RocketChat, and a result with logs is stored into database. These test results are immediately also available in Timon. This architecture is a perfect proof that something like test automation platform can be built without overpriced commercial tools. When our platform worked on testing environments, we decided to help with testing in production.
During release, there are always some health check tests that prove crucial bank system functionality after deployment. With this, the time of unavailability of application has been reduced, and also effort of testers has been moved to robot. These tests are used for ad hoc production checks too. For security reasons, it is a separated platform. Technically, test automation is a step away from RPA. Robot Framework, as an open source RPA ecosystem, has won the tender between others, mainly commercial tools for RPA implementation in our bank. Because of its zero costs, extensibility, and experiences that we have with it. We were able to implement first robotic process for back office in 2 weeks, just in 2 weeks. Nowadays, it is a self-serving solution that daily processes tens of applications during bank hours. It became a stable solution, and number of processes is still growing. Thank you for your attention. That's all from me, and now it is Marián's turn.
Thanks, Patrik. So our platform at this stage was pretty robust, stable, and covering many areas of testing of bank applications, but it was still missing one important part, which is obviously mobile apps testing. Problem was that at the time we had no previous experience in this area, and the only thing we knew were our expectations that we would need. Our first and foremost requirement was the ability to interact with other non-mobile bank applications. For example, we have such a business scenario where the branch officer enters data to branch web app and client sees the results on a tablet and vice versa. Next expectation was the ability to run the same test suite parallelly on multiple devices, and also with sharing the test data among the instances of tests. We also expected the test execution to be done on real devices. Then security concerns, there was strong preference of having such a solution built in-house, as we are working with high sensitive data. And last expectation was easy extendability or replaceability of the devices. As mentioned, we had no previous experience with building a mobile automation platform. So we discussed it with our external partners who provide us testing solutions, but none of them was able to fulfill the expectations I mentioned on a previous slide. More likely appeared to us the option to integrate to the cloud solutions like those from Amazon, Source Labs, or Bitbar. But we also knew that there was also the option to build it by using open source tools we were familiar with. Of course, it is our favorite robot framework. Then Pabot as a module for parallel executions of robot framework tests. Selenium Grid to distribute the instances of tests to particular nodes, and Appium to control the devices. It was definitely not an easy decision, but we were given the trust to try to make it happen by our own. So we started with simple tasks such as get to know how to automate both major platforms. Obviously, there were much more problems with automating iOS than with Android. But step by step, we iterated through more complex tasks, and currently we finished with the functionality as is shown on this scheme. So on the left side, you can see the test master virtual machine, which introduced to you Patrik, and which is the main part of our automation platform. This is the place from which are all the tests being run. And on the right side, there's the new component for the mobile ops automation. Basically, this is a physical machine to which are the devices connected. Here is one Apple's restriction that you can automate iOS platform only from macOS system. So in our case, the physical machine is a Mac Mini. Luckily, there's no such a restriction for Android, so we could automate Android also from that Mac Mini either. We decided to build a solution without the need for constant monitoring of individual components. So they are starting in suite setup and destroying after the test in suite teardown as follows. First, we start the Selenium hub. This is the component provided by Selenium to distribute the test to particular nodes identified by desired capabilities. Then we start the config files to Mac Mini. Right after that, we start particular Appium nodes which are needed for the tests. The Appium nodes are getting the config files as the parameters, and by this the nodes register to the hub and are waiting for the commands. And after that, instances of particular tests are started and routed through the hub to relevant nodes which are executing the instructions on assigned devices. So in this example, you can see the scheme is showing the test of George Go. George Go is the name of mobile banking app in Slovenská sporiteľňa, which is being executed parallelly on two mobile devices, most likely one Android and one iOS. But on our platform, it is also possible to run parallelly another suite or even more suites of different apps on another devices. But it is better to see it in action. So here you can see our Jenkins pipeline for smoke and regression tests of mobile apps. If you trigger it manually, you can choose here which application you want to test, and then the scope of the test, smoke or regression, and finally the devices you want to run the tests on. In this example, I will showcase you the onboarding test to George Go app on all 6 devices intended for this test. I hit run, and now Jenkins will prepare the configuration files to run Appium nodes, then datasets and argument files for Pubbot, and right after that it triggers Pubbot with 6 instances of robot framework tests within which is being executed all the stuff I mentioned on previous slide. After a while, the application is started on 6 devices, 4 Androids and 2 iOSes. The iOSes are those on the right side. It takes a bit more time to them to start, as we always need to push a fresh copy of the app to the iOS devices. As I mentioned before, the test performs onboarding of a client to the app, which means it will test the entering invalid and valid login, then setting up invalid and valid PIN code, and after that the successful login. It is the same test case for all instances of tests, but obviously there are differences on the screens for Android and iOS. But we still use the same test case file for both platforms. We just import in it a platform relevant keyword file for each instance. There are 2 shelves with the devices. The upper one is intended for testing on test environments, and the other one is for testing on production, as we want to have separate infrastructure for that. It was a bit fast forwarded. But when the tests are finished, the results are just like all other testing areas stored to Daemon, just with the difference that there are dynamically displayed the results for every device which was the test ran on. So here you can see the results for all 6 devices. In this case, it was run just one test case on each of them. So that were all the components and usage cases for our test automation platform. Currently, it helps with execution of half of all regression tests, which makes over 150,000 test executions per year. It also saves yearly almost 6,000 working hours with just the data preparation. And all of this is supported on 7 test environments and is being used by over 200 users throughout many departments in the bank. But still, we were able to build it just us two, and currently we are maintaining it in count of 3 full-time and 2 part-time employees. And this is from our point of view the perfect proof that with Robot Framework and other open source tools you can build on a greenfield very effective and sustainable solutions, even in such a specific environment as bank definitely is. And the best reward for us comes from our colleagues when they tell us that now they can't even imagine to work without them. Thanks for watching.
Hey, welcome to RoboCon.
Hi, Joe.
Good to see you, Marián. Hey, Patrik. All right, so we have a bunch of questions. They all came in all of a sudden. So let's try to get through some of them. First one is, do you have a particular approach to managing data sets for test automation input data for banking applications?
Yes, I think that we have 2 approaches. One of them is that we prepare data at the night by pipelines, and the second one is we prepare just before specific test with test setup or SUI setup. Maybe Marián can add something.
Yes, and we also use, let's say, pre-prepared data, which we stored for a specific suite in the config server.
Nice. Next question is from Manny. Manny wants to know, do you also store the history of your test automation log somewhere, like in Jenkins or somewhere else, or is that not really relevant?
Yes, in the end of the pipeline, the data are stored to database, which is the source of data for Timon. And we are also moving the robot framework log HTML to web application to public folder, but only just from the last pipeline. But we are working on to bring some more logs from previous tests.
Marcus wants to know, where can I find Timon and Tbot?
Nowadays, just in our in the bank site, but I have already started to think about how to bring this thing to community if it is needed, because it is specific, because you testers which are that are technically proficient can start from command line tests, but this app is for business testers and managers that they have no experience with programming or command lines. So this is the purpose of Tbot.
Nice. The next question is, with Timon and Tbot, is it possible to create jobs and after execution, assert the results in Jenkins or Azure DevOps?
Can you repeat the question, because I don't.
Yeah, just get rid of it. I guess they were saying after the job's done, can Tbot take the results and put it into Jenkins or Azure? I think was the question.
Tbot is a separate application. Jenkins is the different one. So Tbot just collect all inputs from HTML form, and then they put together to command, and then they execute a command on the server. But the Jenkins is another part of it, the orchestrated pipelines for small game regression suites, and Tbot is for ad hoc testing.
Great. So Samuel wants to know, could you give more information on the secrets management part of the solution?
I think it's for long, but it is part of DevOps architecture, and the config server use YAML files, and we use cryptography for passwords and also for configuration. I think that's all.
But
To
I think
return
that
the configurations.
I think that there is a plan by the DevOps guys to move these credentials to Conjure, as far as I know. So this is the mid-term plan of DevOps guys.
Nice. So next question is, initially, when getting the existing set of requirement tests automated, was this done by automation experts alone, or did you get the manual testers acquainted with Robot?
Goes.
Basically, we have such an approach that all the test cases which we automate are described in Jira. All the test cases are stored in Jira test case library, and this was at the start of our automation journey, let's say, the first task to describe the test cases in such a way that the automation tester would understand them, even if he doesn't understand the business area, and he was able, based on the test case, automate the test.
All right, so we need to go to lightning round, I guess. And one question is, how does Timon integrate with Jira?
There is no big integration for now, but there are links on every test we have integrated that you from Timon you can click on the Jira link and you can find out the description of that test in Jira. So.
How long have you been developing this?
How long?
Yeah.
I think that it is continuous improvement, but T-Bot is with us from start. I think I think that Timon was developed in 2 months. I think with Timon, and we're already working on that platform for 4 years.
Yes. Raid wants to know, is the Rocket Chat used as a messaging service similar to RabbitMQ?
We use Rocket Chat as a chat application, but we also use it for to send notification from automated tests. We have channels for particular areas there, and we send specific notification to specific channel in the end of test.
Perfect. Like I said, these are short Q&A. Thank you so much for the session. I love, like I said, hands-on sessions, especially when you do something really complicated in like a regulated environment like banking or healthcare. I really love these types of things. So thank you for this. Hopefully you'll be in the speaker session with us in the RoboCon venue. I don't know if you're going to be in the light or the dark section, but definitely get ready for more questions coming your way.
Patrik is lighting. Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. Cheers.